Welcome back to the Deep Dive. This is where we take the sources you send us and, well, we dig deep, pulling out the key insights for you.
That's the idea, giving you the core knowledge distilled.
Today, we're venturing into the magical world of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, looking at both the book and the film adaptation, based on the materials you provided. And hey, if you enjoyed this kind of exploration, make sure to subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. It really helps us bring you more deep dives like this one.
Definitely. Now look, many of you probably know Harry Potter backwards and forwards.
Oh, for sure. It's a classic for a reason.
But our goal today is to maybe highlight some details you might have missed or some connections that, add another layer. Think of it as a shortcut to an even richer understanding.
Absolutely. The sources cover a lot. Plot points, character arcs, publication details, even some fun behind-the-scenes trivia from the film.
So yeah, hopefully it's a chance to revisit a story you love, but maybe with some fresh eyes.
See it in a slightly different light, perhaps?
Exactly. And walk away feeling like you've got a really comprehensive grasp of it all.
Okay, let's unpack this. Where should we start? Maybe the beginning, the book's publication.
Sounds good. So the original English version, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, that hit shelves July 2nd, 1998.
Right. And the Spanish translation is interesting, isn't it? You mentioned 2 different dates in 1999.
Yeah, 2 publishers even. Bloomsbury released one on June 2nd, 99, and then Salamandra put theirs out on November 23rd, 99.
2 versions in the same year. That really shows the buzz around it already.
It really does. And speaking of the Spanish versions, there's that subtle title thing you pointed out.
Oh yeah, the capitalization difference. La Cámara Secreta versus La Cámara Secreta. What behind that?
It's fascinating, actually. It ties into how the place itself is named in the story. In Spanish, Cámara de los Secretos, capitalized, usually refers to the specific mythical place in Hogwarts.
Okay.
But the lowercase version in the book title sometimes just comes down to editorial style guides or choices. It's a tiny detail, but it shows the kind of decisions translators face, conveying not just meaning, but the weight of a name.
Huh. A little aha moment, like you said. And not just the title, but the chapter names, too. 3 different Spanish versions.
That's right. One for Spain, one for the southern cone of Latin America, and another for the rest of Latin America.
Wow. Why so many variations?
It just highlights how diverse the Spanish language is, Different regions have different nuances, different ways of phrasing things. They wanted the titles to resonate locally.
Shows a real level of care in the adaptation process.
It does. And then, of course, you've got the illustrated editions and the 20th anniversary versions popping up later.
Which just underscores how much staying power this book has, right?
Absolutely. Keeps the magic alive for new generations, presented in fresh ways.
So let's get into the story itself. It starts with Harry back at the Dursleys, dreading the summer. That stark contrast with how much he loves Hogwarts.
Yeah, that feeling is palpable right from page 1, isn't it? His misery there versus the freedom and belonging he finds at school. It really sets the stage.
Establishes his core motivation immediately.
Exactly. And then, boom, Dobby appears.
Oh, Dobby. With his cryptic, slightly terrifying warnings. Poor Harry must have been so confused.
Totally. One minute he's longing for Hogwarts. The next, this strange elf is telling him not to go back, that terrible things will happen.
And Harry's just like, what are you talking about?
But Dobby, despite his clumsy methods, genuinely wants to protect Harry. It's a media foreshadowing of the real danger ahead.
The danger Harry can't really grasp yet, and then the escape. The flying Fort Anglia.
Such a great scene. Ron, Fred, and George rescuing him.
The chaos at the Burrow afterwards. Mrs. Weasley's reaction. It's just such a warm contrast to the Dursleys' coldness.
It really is. And it's our proper introduction to the Weasley family dynamic. Chaotic, maybe, but full of love.
Right?
We meet Arthur Weasley, Ginny.
Right. Arthur and his fascination with muggles, and Ginny, who's so shy around Harry initially. Key introductions.
Definitely setting things up for later.
And we can't forget Nocturne Alley, Harry's accidental detour into the darker side of the wizarding world.
Yeah, ending up in Borgin and Burke's? That's a bit of a shock for him.
And seeing Lucius Malfoy there, handling those dark objects. It subtly plants a seed, doesn't it?
It does. Connects Malfoy Sr. to shady dealings early on.
Then comes Gilderoy Lockhart. What an entrance. The celebrity wizard, the 5-time winner of Witch Weekly's Most Charming Smile Award.
All style, absolutely no substance, as we find out later. His appearance at Flourish and Blots is pure spectacle.
Giving Harry his books, announcing he's the new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. It's all about him. He's the perfect foil, in a way, to the real hidden threat.
Yeah, the contrast between his fake heroism and the actual danger is a major theme,
And then the barrier incident at platform 9 3/4. They can't get through,
leading to that incredibly risky flight to Hogwarts in the car.
which naturally ends badly. Straight into the Whomping Willow. Crunch. And Ron's wand snaps. That felt like more than just bad luck.
Oh, it has consequences. A broken wand is a serious problem for a wizard, as we see throughout the book.
Okay, so they finally get to Hogwarts, but things start getting tense pretty quickly. The mudblood slur.
Yeah, Malfoy directing that at Hermione, it's the first time we really encounter that kind of prejudice head-on in the books.
And Hermione's reaction, Ron's fury. It immediately establishes the stakes around blood purity.
It shows the deep-seated prejudice within parts of the wizarding world. A really ugly side.
And then Harry starts hearing that voice.
Right, during his detention with Lockhart, of all people. This creepy, disembodied voice nobody else hears.
Which Lockhart, wrapped up in himself, completely dismisses.
Of course. But for Harry, it's deeply unsettling. And it's the first real clue to the Chamber's monster.
Leading to that horrifying discovery, Mrs. Norris, Filch's cat, petrified.
And the message daubed on the wall in, well, what looks like blood.
The Chamber of Secrets has been opened. Enemies of the air, beware. Shivers down the spine moment.
That's when the legend becomes terrifyingly real for everyone at Hogwarts. The fear starts to spread.
And Professor Bin's history lesson suddenly becomes very relevant.
Yeah. The ghost teacher droning on about the founders, Salazar Slytherin and his prejudice against Muggle-borns. It provides that crucial backstory.
Connects the ancient history of the castle to the present danger. Slytherin's hidden chamber, the monster within.
Exactly. And the idea of an heir carrying on his work.
Then comes the Quidditch match. The rogue bludger.
Oh, man. That bludger just relentlessly targeting Harry. It's terrifying.
And Lockhart's attempt to fix Harry's broken arm afterwards? Disastrous.
Removing all the bones. Skilligrews to the rescue eventually. But it just highlights Lockhart's utter incompetence again.
And while Harry's stuck in the hospital wing, Dobby reappears.
Yep, confessing. He tampered with the bludger, he sealed the platform barrier, all to try and make Harry leave Hogwarts for his own safety.
His intentions are good, but the execution is.
Counterproductive, to say the least. But Dobby also drops that crucial hint. The chamber has been opened before. 50 years ago.
Right, adding another layer to the mystery. Who opened it then?
And this leads Harry, Ron, and Hermione to focus their suspicions squarely on Draco Malfoy.
He certainly fits the prejudice profile, which leads them to the very ambitious polyjuice potion plan.
Brewing it in secret in Moaning Myrtle's bathroom, a complex piece of magic showing their determination.
They're really taking matters into their own hands here.
They feel they have to. And then comes the dueling club.
Another Lockhart fiasco, meant to teach dueling, but mostly just showcasing himself, until Malfoy conjures that snake.
Serpensortia. And then the massive shock, Harry speaks Parseltongue. He can talk to snakes.
Something almost exclusively associated with Salazar Slytherin and, dark wizards.
Exactly. Suddenly, the whole school starts whispering, could Harry be the heir of Slytherin?
It throws him into turmoil, doesn't it? Even he starts to doubt himself.
Yeah.
Am I in the wrong house? Should I have been in Slytherin?
It's a major identity crisis moment for him, fueled by this ability he didn't know he had and its dark reputation.
And the attacks continue. Justin Finch-Fletchley and nearly headless Nick get petrified.
The stakes just keep rising. Now even a ghost isn't safe. The fear in the castle is palpable.
This leads to Harry's conversation with the Sorting Hat, asking if it put him in the right house.
And the hat confirms he could have been in Slytherin, but ultimately it was Harry's choice that put him in Gryffindor, a key theme.
Choices, not abilities.
Yeah.
And his encounter with Fawkes, Dumbledore's phoenix.
Yeah, Fawkes appears, this symbol of loyalty, rebirth, healing. It feels significant even if Harry doesn't fully understand why yet.
So the polyjuice potion plan goes ahead. Harry and Ron transform into Crabbe and Goyle.
Right, and they infiltrate the Slytherin common room. But it's kind of a dead end regarding Malfoy being the heir. He's unpleasant, sure, but he's not the one opening the chamber.
But they do find something else crucial later. Tom Riddle's diary.
Found in Moaning Myrtle's bathroom, where Hermione was brewing the potion, this blank diary that writes back.
It's super creepy and interactive. Harry starts communicating with this Tom Riddle figure.
And the diary shows him a memory from 50 years ago, the previous time the chamber was opened.
Where it looks like Hagrid, a young Hagrid, was caught with a dangerous creature and blamed for opening the chamber and a student's death.
Yeah, the diary frames Hagrid completely. It seems like irrefutable proof at the time.
And just as things couldn't get worse, Hermione gets petrified. And Penelope Clearwater, too.
That's a huge blow. Hermione, the brains of the operation, is out of action.
And then the Ministry gets involved. Cornelius Fudge arrives to arrest Hagrid based on the past accusations.
And Lucius Malfoy is there too, leveraging the situation to get Dumbledore suspended as headmaster.
It feels like everything's falling apart. Hagrid's being taken away, Dumbledore's leaving.
But just before Hagrid goes, he gives them that cryptic clue, doesn't he? Follow the spiders.
And Dumbledore adds that he will only truly have left the school when none there are loyal to him. Powerful words.
Yeah, giving Harry and Ron a thread to pull on, even with their main protectors gone.
So they follow the spiders, right into the Forbidden Forest.
Which leads them to Aragog, the giant, terrifying acromantula.
Not exactly a friendly chat. They nearly get eaten.
Nearly. But Aragog does confirm Hagrid's innocence. He says Hagrid didn't open the chamber 50 years ago.
And he reveals the creature in the chamber is something spiders fear. And crucially, that the student killed 50 years ago died in a bathroom.
Myrtle. It points back to Moaning Myrtle.
And then the breakthrough comes from Hermione, even while petrified.
She figured it out. Ron finds a crumpled page from a book in her hand.
About the basilisk. A giant serpent whose direct gaze kills, but an indirect look through water, a mirror, a camera lens, or even a ghost only petrifies.
It explains everything. Why no one died, only got petrified. Mrs. Norris saw it in a puddle, Colin through his camera.
And Harry realizes that's the voice he's been hearing. Because he's a Parselmouth, he can understand the basilisk moving through the castle's pipes.
Exactly. Pipes is the key word Hermione wrote down. It travels through the plumbing.
Which leads them back to Moaning Myrtle's bathroom. The entrance must be there.
Just as they figure this out, the teachers announce the worst news yet.
Ginny Weasley has been taken into the chamber.
The message appeared. Her skeleton will lie in the chamber forever. It's absolutely desperate now.
And they force Lockhart to go handle it, calling his bluff.
Of course, Lockhart immediately tries to pack his bags and run away.
That's when they confront him. And he confesses everything. He's a fraud, stole other wizard stories, wiped their memories.
Utter coward. But Harry and Ron force him to come with them to the chamber entrance.
They find the entrance in Myrtle's bathroom, marked with a snake. Harry opens it with Parseltongue.
Down they go, and Lockhart sees his chance, grabs Ron's broken wand,
Tries to wipe their memories with Obliviate, but the broken wand backfires spectacularly.
hits Lockhart instead, wiping his own memory completely, causes a cave-in too, separating Harry from Ron and the now useless Lockhart,
So Harry has to go on alone. He enters the main chamber.
and finds Ginny lying unconscious on the floor and standing over her. Tom Riddle.
Not just a memory anymore. He's somehow solid, real.
And then the big reveal. Riddle explains everything. He is the heir of Slytherin.
And rearranges his name. Tom Marvolo Riddle becomes.
I am Lord Voldemort. Mind-blowing twist. He's the younger version of Voldemort, preserved in the diary.
He explains how he used Ginny, pouring his soul into her through the diary, forcing her to open the chamber, set the basilisk on students.
Pure manipulation, using her fears and insecurities, and now he's draining her life source to become fully alive again.
And just as Riddle summons the basilisk to kill Harry, Fawkes arrives.
Dumbledore's Phoenix, carrying the Sorting Hat,
Fawkes flies straight at the basilisk and pecks out its eyes, blinding it.
takes away its deadliest weapon, the Death Gaze. But it can still hear and smell Harry.
And then Harry puts on the Sorting Hat, and something falls out.
The Sword of Gryffindor. Embedded with rubies, he has no idea how, but he pulls it out.
A true Gryffindor accessing the help he needs.
Yeah.
And he fights the blinded basilisk.
An epic struggle. He manages to stab it through the roof of its mouth with the sword.
But gets stabbed himself by one of its venomous fangs in the process.
He's dying from the venom. Riddle is gloating, thinking he's won.
But Fawkes comes back, lands beside Harry, and cries onto the wound.
Phoenix, tears. They have immense healing power. They counteract the basilisk venom.
Incredible moment. And Harry, weakened but alive, sees the diary lying there. He grabs the broken basilisk fang,
And plunges it into the heart of the diary.
destroying it,
Yeah.
defeating the memory of Tom Riddle, who vanishes in a scream of ink and light. Ginny wakes up.
Phew, what a climax. Just incredible bravery from Harry.
Absolutely. So they get out, help Lockhart, reunite with Ron, back to Dumbledore's office, or rather McGonagall's, since Dumbledore's still suspended.
But Dumbledore returns, his name cleared, and he explains things to Harry. How Voldemort transferred some of his powers to Harry the night he tried to kill him, including Parseltongue.
And why the Sword of Gryffindor appeared for him. It only presents itself to worthy Gryffindors, affirming Harry's place.
Dumbledore puts all the pieces together beautifully and emphasizes Harry's choices, making him who he is.
Then Lucius Malfoy storms in, furious that Dumbledore's back, Dobby trailing behind him.
And Harry realizes the diary was Malfoy's. He slipped it into Ginny's cauldron back at Diagon Alley.
He can't prove it, but he knows. And then he pulls that brilliant trick with his sock.
Hands the diary back to Malfoy, who throws it dismissively to Dobby. But Harry had hidden his sock inside.
Master has given Dobby his sock. Master gave it to Dobby.
Dobby is free! Such a satisfying moment. Malfoy is enraged, tries to attack Harry.
And Dobby blasts him backwards, protecting Harry. You shall not harm Harry Potter.
The start of a beautiful, fiercely loyal friendship.
And after all that, Harry goes back to the Dursleys for the summer.
But as the book ends, he's not really dreading it in the same way. He's faced far worse. He knows he has a place where he belongs.
Yeah, there's a quiet confidence there. He's survived again, proven himself again.
Definitely a sense of growth.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about some of those intriguing behind-the-scenes details and differences you mentioned.
Yeah, there are some fun ones, like the potential original title.
Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. That was almost the title for book 2.
It's apparently so. Rowling considered it, but decided the plot element wasn't quite right yet and saved it for book 6. Shows how far ahead she was planning.
That's amazing foresight.
Yeah.
What about Lockhart's wardrobe difference?
Right. The book describes him in elegant, flowing robes, often in shades like lilac or turquoise. The film often puts him in these almost safari-style adventure outfits.
Little adaptation choices. Maybe to visually sell his fake adventurer persona more?
Could be. It's a small thing, but interesting how visual mediums adapt descriptions.
And the Weasley clock continuity error between films 2 and 4.
Yes. Fans noticed the design changed slightly. These things happen in long-running franchises. Dedicated fans spot everything.
They really do. What about that Dumbledore line about Voldemort being Slytherin's last ancestor?
Yes. The book has Dumbledore say ancestor, when logically it should be descendant. Rowling later called it an intentional error, but was vague about why.
Weird. The Spanish translation apparently corrected it to descendant, and the film just cut the line.
Yeah, it's one of those little textual mysteries fans love to debate.
And you mentioned Chamber of Secrets is the only book where the English title was changed in the main Spanish translation, losing the.
That's right. Harry Potter y la Cámara Secreta. All the others kept the structure closer to the English. Just a linguistic quirk of translation and titling conventions.
Interesting. Another film change. Who fixes Harry's broken glasses at the start?
In the book, it's Arthur Weasley in Diagon Alley. In the film, Hermione does it on the Hogwarts Express with the Oculus Reparo spell.
Probably just streamlines things for the movie, gives Hermione a moment.
Likely. The film also adds a specific spider-repelling spell, Arania Exumai, used in the forest scene, which isn't named in the book.
Makes sense for a visual medium, adds a bit more action.
And then there's the funny little timeline inconsistency with Ron's spider phobia.
Oh yeah, what's that?
Ron says he was 3 when Fred turned his teddy bear into a giant spider. But Fred's only 2 years older than Ron, meaning Fred would have been just 5 himself.
Huh. Maybe Fred was an unusually advanced wizard for a 5-year-old, or just a slight oversight.
Probably the latter. Fans love finding those little things.
And the Salamandra book cover, showing Harry fighting an unblinded basilisk.
Yeah, and wearing a red cloak he doesn't have in the book. Sometimes cover art takes creative liberties for dramatic effect, even if it clashes slightly with the text.
Marketing versus narrative accuracy. And finally, the Jim Kay Illustrated Edition came out in Spanish in 2016.
Yes, bringing those beautiful, detailed illustrations to Spanish-speaking readers, a whole new way to experience the story visually.
They really are stunning editions. Okay, let's focus specifically on the film now. Released November 15, 2002. Big box office success.
Huge. Really cemented the franchise's cinematic power. Chris Columbus returned to direct. Steve Klubbs wrote the screenplay again,
Keeping that initial team largely intact.
which provided good continuity from the first film.
And sadly, as we mentioned, it was Richard Harris's final performance as Dumbledore.
Yes, very poignant. He passed away shortly before the film's release. A great loss.
His portrayal is really beloved. The film itself is generally seen as quite faithful to the book, right?
It is remarkably so for its runtime. Obviously, things get condensed or slightly altered, but it hits all the major plot points and captures the darker, more mysterious tone of the second book very well.
The production design really stands out too. The burrow, Dumbledore's office with all its intricate instruments, Borgin and Burke's looking suitably creepy, the chamber itself.
Stuart Craig's team did phenomenal work again, really brought those locations to life in a memorable way.
And the flying Ford Anglia became such an iconic image from the film.
Definitely. That whole sequence, the flight, the crash into the willow, visually very strong.
Filming started pretty quickly after the first movie wrapped.
Yeah, they moved right into it. Used many of the same locations, like Gloucester Cathedral for Hogwarts interiors, Alnwick Castle.
Gives it that consistent look and feel.
And Columbus apparently used more handheld cameras this time around.
Interesting. Why was that?
Reports suggest it was to give a bit more freedom of movement, maybe enhance the sense of action or unease in certain scenes, compared to the more formal style of the first film.
Makes sense for a story that gets darker and more action-packed. And the sound design.
More complex, definitely, reflecting the mystery, the basilisk's movements, the general sense of peril.
And John Williams returned for the score.
He did, composing the main themes, but William Ross adapted and conducted much of it because Williams had scheduling conflicts with, I think, Catch Me If You Can.
Ah, okay. But they kept that essential Williams magic in the soundtrack.
Absolutely. That score is inseparable from the Potter films.
Well, that brings us towards the end of this deep dive into Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. We've covered a lot of ground.
We really have. From the book's publication, nuances and translation quirks, to the intricate plot, the character development.
Dobby, Lockhart, Tom Riddle, and those fascinating behind-the-scenes bits and film adaptation details.
Hopefully, even if you've read the book a dozen times or seen the movie just as often, maybe there are a few new connections or details that stood out today.
We definitely encourage you to revisit the story, maybe with some of these points in mind. See what jumps out at you this time.
For sure. And to leave you with something to think about.
Oh, the final provocative thought. Go on.
Okay. Considering how strongly this book establishes the connection between Harry and Voldemort, the Parseltongue, the diary, the shared soul fragment, what do you think is the most significant implication of their intertwined destinies for the rest of the series?
Ooh, that's a great question. How does that link shape everything that follows? Definitely something to chew on.
Exactly.
Well, thank you all for joining us on this magical journey. If you enjoyed it, please do subscribe to the channel and like this video so we can keep bringing you more deep dives.
Your support really helps.
And don't forget, click the link in the video description for a fantastic opportunity from Audible. You can get a free audiobook with your subscription trial. It's an excellent deal you won't want to miss.
Check it out.
Until next time, keep diving deep.